All right, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the Passion Project. My name is Daniel. I'm your host today. And this episode, I have a new guest with me. You guys might have heard of her. She is very local out here in Southwest Florida, very well known in the car industry, which is crazy because the way I met this girl, she started off as a model, but now she's been thriving, doing a whole lot of crazy video content with Lamborghini and a bunch of different car meets. So I want to introduce you guys to Miss Rebel Vision, aka Harleigh Madison.
Hi, nice to see you.
Thank you for coming on. I'm so excited for you to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited too. It's gonna be fun to just chit chat.
Yeah.
Get to know each other.
So tell me a little bit about yourself. I could say like if you're comfortable with it, tell me about your past. Like, are you originally from Florida, Fort Myers?
Actually, I'm originally from Georgia. Born and raised in South Georgia. And I moved down to Florida about 7 years ago, 7 years ago, something like that. Started up there, and then I actually started in the industry technically up there, and then took a break for a while. So when I moved down here, I was just, looking for better opportunities. I come from a small town, so
Nice.
just needed to
What did you
branch out.
do? What was the industry you did over there
So up in
in Georgia?
Yeah, so I actually I did videography, photography, broadcasting. So I did it all through, I started technically when I was younger, but I did broadcasting all through middle school. I started that and then went into high school, and I went to college for that actually.
Oh, really? Also, it was kind of like the whole like the news thing for the schools, like talking about
So
lunches.
well, we did news broadcasting, but we did everything. So it was a huge program for my school actually.
Wow.
And they start you like really young, if you're interested in it. But when I did it in middle school, it wasn't like anything crazy. They were just kind of educating you.
Yeah, like how
They wouldn't
to.
take it seriously. And then in high school, I did a lot of sports.
Oh, wow.
So I've been tackled a lot.
Nice. See, I didn't even have something like that when I was in middle school and high school.
Oh, really? Oh my gosh, that's a
Yeah.
huge program. And
I would have loved to do something
Oh my
like that.
gosh. Yeah, and I think it genuinely is the reason why I did so well in life, because it taught me so much, but also it taught me like work ethics and community. They genuinely were like the reason I think that I survived high school.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I did sports, broadcasting and videography. So I would do like highlights for the football players, all that, like if they wanted to do reach out to colleges and stuff like that.
Oh, nice.
And then we broadcasted. It was a huge program. Like football was what kept our school thriving as well. So I would broadcast it, and then we did radio. We had a radio booth. We did short films.
Oh.
Yeah, which was crazy. And then I actually got a scholarship for it. I did sports videography and photography for my college. So that was really cool.
What?
Yeah.
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was interesting. Again, lots of being tackled and lots of craziness. But
Nice.
it was awesome. The reason I love the broadcasting program that my school provided was it showed you everything in the industry, and it required you to do it. Because it's like you can think you want to do something, but then you get to dabble in a little other things, and then you learn that, oh wait, I kind of like this more, I like that more. So even if I didn't love doing radio, I enjoyed that I got to experience a little bit of it. And then I mean, they even did like sound systems. Like I'm technically certified to do like sound systems for concerts. Like
Really?
random stuff like that. Yeah, it's, like, really
Okay.
random. Yeah, but I absolutely loved it.
So were you? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. So were you always behind the camera, or were you usually like in the front as like
was
a
both.
news anchor?
It was both. So I was definitely forced like to do a little bit of news anchoring here and there. I did not love that, but I did try it. Like it was fun, I guess. But I like I said, I got to do both sides. You get all aspects of it. So even when
Mm-hmm.
you did short films, I would say you like get to experience all of it. You get to experience editing, sound, filming, writing, acting. You have to do all of that because we did it multiple times a year, and I did it for years. So
Wow.
they were really adamant on positioning you in different groups to where you had different positions, which I thought was really fun because you get to, like I said, learn what you love and what you don't love. So
That's
what
cool.
you're strong at and what you're not. Because I feel like we are kind of, you can learn skill, but I think you also, some people have like a natural skill that they don't
Mm-hmm.
know until they,
They
tap
actually
into
do
it.
it,
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
Because I'm sure even like in the middle school phase, like not everyone's gonna want to fully get into it
yeah.
unless they make it as a requirement. Like, oh, you
Right.
have to do it, so
Yeah.
then you understand if
And
you.
it really wasn't. It was, are they called electives technically?
Yeah, I
It was
like
never a requirement.
extracurricular type.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like you kind of had to choose something like that, but it was never like a forced thing. But that's why in middle school, like no one took it serious. And
Mm,
then, but we learned a lot about like films. So that class was really big into like teaching you what went into films. We watched films,
wow,
analyzed them, stuff like that. And again, not, and I wouldn't even say I was like super serious about it at first. But then when I went into high school, I was like, oh, I love this. Like,
that's crazy. Because
because
I had a film class too, but we didn't do nothing with cameras. We just watched movies and
it's
we analyzed
yeah,
more
well,
like that too.
you need the funding because we had like, oh my gosh, our equipment was, we had the big cameras, like you
Oh
needed the
wow.
big, like big like support in that. I was so thankful, but it mainly funneled in from the sports side of it.
Mm,
Obviously it wasn't just sports, but I think that they were really big in like trying to support us because we supported them. So our school was just, I was very thankful we were, you know, get to experience that.
that's awesome. So
Yeah.
did you end up doing something like that in high school too, or was it just the middle school phase at the
Um,
time?
for the
Like doing like the filming
Oh no, it's
at the
all through high
school,
school. Yeah.
all through high school as
Yeah.
well?
It just started like briefly in middle school. And my mom was a photographer. She did film photography.
Oh,
And
nice.
so she's the one that, kind of caught my eye with photography specifically. And then, I was like, oh, I'll just check out, I love movies. I'll check out the film class. And then all through high school, I did all of everything. I was like super involved. And that's how I got my scholarship.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Wow. See, man, I should have went to Georgia when I went to school because New Mexico, we didn't have not much like that, which
Yeah.
is crazy because like I mean, like even in New Mexico has like very famous scenes out there.
Yeah,
Breaking
exactly.
Bad's done
Yeah,
out there. They
exactly.
did Billy the Kid and everything. But no, my school's never had that kind of.
It wasn't every school in my town either. Like I said, I come from a very small town. I think it was just my school had the funding and it had the drive behind
Um,
it. My teachers, oh my gosh, shout out to Mr. Young. He was the best. And he was the reason that, I have the passion that I have, but also the reason why we had that program. I truly believe that he is like changing lives.
that's
Yeah.
cool.
So, but yeah, I would say that there was tons of other towns around us that had big
Mm-hmm.
schools that we competed with, and then other schools in my town, and they didn't have the same program, but we were just, we had agriculture, sports, and we're lucky enough to have the broadcasting program. So
Nice, nice. So did you end up taking continuing this skills that you had as a videographer outside of high school after you graduated?
After, I mean, so I went obviously to college. When I was in college, the way I kept my scholarship was sports videography, photography, broadcasting. So I did do that, but I would say I got burnt out because it was a smaller program and
Mm-hmm.
it was like just mainly me and like two other people. So doing all of that compared to like a huge team, I did get burnt out a little bit. So I didn't, and I had like some other things happen in life to where I didn't continue outside of college. Um, but I did continue um, like pursuing other things. I went to college originally to do physical therapy and massage therapy.
Really?
Yeah, so which is random, but so that's kind of what I pursued more than anything. So just cuz I think I got discouraged. I'll be real with you. I think I got discouraged. I was scared that I wouldn't make enough money or you know what I mean? So
Mm.
you get like little doubts in your head here and there. So
It's these like these creative businesses, what like really makes us feel anxious about whether we can make a passive income out of it,
Yeah.
especially if you don't know the business side to it. It's like, how am I gonna get to this and that, because you got to start with like the little people just paying you barely $100, but compared to like, doing a normal 9 to 5 type of job,
completely
like
different. And I grew up in like a family where, you know, we weren't rich. So I grew up in a family where like security is everything. And so that's where I think I got my doubt from more than anything was the security side of it. But I think that you kind of have to, if you're passionate and you have a talent, I don't think that you have to put that to the side, and you have to learn and you have to grow. You have to use that as motivation to
nice.
to find that consistency,
Definitely.
So,
So when did you end up moving here to Florida?
it's like I think I was like 6 going on 7 years ago. I was yeah. Wow. I was 19 when I moved here. I barely 19, like barely 19.
Nice.
So yeah, and I'm gonna be 27 this year. So yeah, it's been a while.
It's awesome.
And I moved down here. My biological father lives down here. So he was like, Florida's awesome. There's opportunity down here. Like, get out of your small town, get down here, make a life for yourself. And
a little less of a small town, but it's still kind of.
Well, you know what's crazy? It's my town to my actual town where I like lived had one stoplight.
What?
Yeah. So very small.
That's a very small town.
Yeah,
It's like Moorhaven.
School. So like the school I went to was about 25 minutes, 30 minutes from me. So
oh wow.
Yeah. And it was even a small town at the time. It's grown a little bit, but still very small compared to this. So
did you feel very overwhelmed when you decided to move over here?
A little bit.
Because I'm sure the weather is definitely a little different too.
I mean, it definitely got hot there, but it got cold too. So I
Yeah.
don't know. It is different. I think the more overwhelming part was just like not knowing anyone, coming from a town that you know everybody to no one. And then obviously I had my dad here, but like I didn't have any other family, no friends. But at the same time, it's it kind of gives you a nice fresh slate. You get to build yourself, and I've learned a lot from that. But yeah, it was a little overwhelming at first. But
Yeah, no, I get that. Because I'm the same way. I moved here to Florida 2014, which is when I graduated.
okay.
When I moved here, I only had family, a couple of cousins, but I'm not as close to them as much I am now. But all I did was just worked, and I went home, and at the time I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I didn't get the opportunity to do like video and film
Yeah.
in high school, so I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. And so like it took me maybe, God, I want to say maybe another 5 years to actually meet people
Okay.
and meet people that are in the creative industry.
Yeah.
Because it really opened my eyes of how like there's different opportunities. There's new people that can really challenge you to make you do better.
Oh, for sure.
So it's like,
I think that's so important to be like really like involved in the community because that can teach you so much. And I think being more supportive in the community, like you said, just like learning from each other could be so
yeah,
it's so beneficial to all of us. I'm really, really, really big into like if you eat, I eat. Like if the industry is doing good, like I love that. Every time I hear like someone say like, "Oh, I got this job," or if I have a client that say, "Oh, I found somebody to do this instead of me," like I never get upset because I'm like, I want the whole industry to be thriving and supported. So I think it's really important to be involved in the community in general and help each other out. Don't gatekeep information. And if I love when people come up to me and they're like, "I'm thinking about getting in the industry," and I tell them as raw of information as possible. Like, here's the pros and cons, because there's pros and cons with every industry you're involved in.
Oh yeah.
So I think that's so cool that you got to it, even though it took you time to get to it. I think it's amazing that you got to get involved with the community and then you found your passion and you're killing it. You're amazing at it. So I'm
Thank
really
you.
happy that you found that passion.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I think it's really cool because like even when people who don't have an idea of the creative mindset that they want to have, just being able to be involved with different people that do creative things, it will spark something within you.
Oh, for
And if
sure.
not, I mean, you're being a very supportive friend to someone who is wanting to get into that creative side. So you're gonna have those kind of like those cheerleader friends. They're like, "Yeah, I got you. You got it. I believe in you."
No, I love that. And I love when like getting like I don't know, getting together with creative friends and they see the vision, or they, like you said, the support is just so beautiful. I love it.
Yeah. So cool. So we talked a little bit about obviously how you started the videography because you say you started it back in high school. Now, I know for me this was very new to learn that, you've been getting a lot into the car industry, car creating content. You want to talk a little bit of how that unfolded? How
Yeah.
did you get into that?
Yeah. So I originally got into it because I was involved with people around me that were involved in the car industry. I didn't really grow up like being super. I don't consider myself a car girl.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm not like I don't drive a fancy car or anything like that. I don't know a ton about cars either, which is crazy. I mean, I grew up like building classics with my grandfather, but that don't really count that because it was just like something I did with my family. But um, I, uh, I don't know. I got into it again. Like I was involved with like I had a group of people I was surrounded by, and they got me involved in it. And I worked for Lamborghini full time, and that kind of sparked my full time like push. To really be like, okay, don't just do a couple projects here and there part time while also working another job. Like you should do this full time. They kind of pushed me into that. I would say. I went to a I went to the grand opening for Lamborghini, and a media team sent me out there. I was, hired by
Mm-hmm.
them, and I just put together a really cool recap hype reel. They absolutely loved it, and I didn't even reach out. I don't think. I don't even know if I did. I might have tagged them. I don't know, but I just posted the video, and then not even I'd say like a month or two later, they reached out to me via social media and said, "Hey, send us an email. We're really interested in hiring you. We're looking for a full time media
Oh
social
wow.
creator." And so I was like, "All right, so let's." I was like, "I can totally do this."
Hey, it's a good
I was
thing
like,
the
"I'm
media
really
people sent
flexible."
you,
Yeah,
because then
like I said, I was just doing like projects here and there. Like I was being hired for the projects, but it's like I said, it's scary to go full time when you're used to that job security. You get nervous, but
yeah.
I reached out to them. They absolutely loved me, and I've been with them ever since. And I've expanded, obviously. Like I already had clients before them, but like I said, they did really push me to do it full time. And I don't know, it's just kind of snowballed. Like once you get into the world, like a certain niche or whatever, then like other people see what you do and they like what you do. They
Hmm.
love your creations, and then they reach back out. So that's just
Yeah, because you've been traveling a lot. I've seen
yeah,
you've been traveling with
so much.
with the team and just going to different areas. You've been getting the chance to drive in these nice ass
Yeah.
cars.
Yeah,
Like
it's so fun. The
I'm
adrenaline is
I'm
crazy.
just mind blown seeing all this. I'm like, bro, like that's crazy.
Yeah, no, it is so much fun. I do a lot of car rallies. Love that. I've done some car builds. I work with a lot of really cool. I love my clients. I really genuinely love my clients. I cannot complain even the slightest. Um, and yeah, like I said, it's just like, networking. I genuinely have networked the hell out of myself. When I first started, I went to car shows. I went to free events, like
Hmm.
events that I wasn't necessarily getting paid for, but I networked myself. So I would drive wherever I had to go. I'd go to Miami, I'd go to Naples, and I would really just show up. I would show face, I would talk to people, show everyone like, what I'm made of, and show them my personality. And I think that that's built me more than anything was, just my drive
Do
to
you
go out there.
ever do you ever wonder if it's like the appearance of like kind of networking what probably helps as well? Like
Oh,
even
for
pulling up with
sure.
the camera and be like, "Oh,
Exactly.
I'm a
Be like, oh, what do
videographer."
you do? Yeah, yeah. I think so. Showing up in general just shows that like you're passionate about something, and then they again it's putting yourself into positions to talk to people that are going to elevate you or elevate your business, you're never gonna go wrong with that. I've never gone to an event and been like, dang, I shouldn't have gone to that. Or dang, like that was a waste of time. Never. Even if it's like, even if I don't necessarily get a client from it, number one, I'm gonna like have like a good time. Like I said, you networking is everything for yourself, especially when you're first starting out. So no, I love it.
That's awesome.
Love going out to the events and everything.
You think you can see yourself doing this for a good long time, or at least I would say like the next 5 years?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I could see myself doing it forever because I am just nothing but, evolving and changing. Maybe not the exact same thing, but doing media, like social media, anything. I could see myself, I really enjoy doing, I don't do only cars. So like I do want to expand in that sense. But I definitely see myself permanently being in the industry for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What other type of video content would you see yourself wanting to do?
I already do certain things. But I do a lot of brand shoots. Absolutely love creative stuff, but it's a little more difficult to get paid for, doing stuff with models and everything. And I've done a couple, but I do definitely want to expand on this, but, I want to do music.
Really?
But I love live music. I absolutely love live music. So I've done a couple concerts here and there, and I would love to do that more. I love the joy that you get to see at live music and supporting other artists. I love supporting art in general, especially other different forms of art. So I could see myself expanding in that. And then my biggest thing that I'm really working on in the next few years is just branding. So, helping other small businesses or small brands or anything develop themselves. So, in multiple aspects, but especially with content. So, videography, photography, stuff like that.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's cool. Okay, cool. So since you are obviously working at Naples Lamborghini, you ever see yourself owning one?
Oh, yeah. I can see myself all the time owning one. I definitely know I will be successful enough to own one. Which one? I haven't fully decided. There's just so many to pick from.
Hell yeah. What would you say is your favorite that you've been in so far?
Hmm. You know what's weird is I have a couple, but I know it sounds a little cliche, but I love an SVJ just because I love the sound of them. They're absolute beast. There's not one Lamborghini I've ever been in and I'm like, ugh, I don't like this. You know what I mean? So, but love an SVJ, but I also really love the new Temerario that just came out, which I know is gonna everyone's kind of weird about. It's a hybrid, but it's really futuristic in my opinion, and I think it's the way of the future. And
Yeah, I
it's a super
mean,
aggressive car, and I love it.
we're definitely gonna be changing out of the whole gas into electric cars now.
I
So
think the more we fight on that, again, I'm not a car girl. Don't shoot the messenger. But I think the more we fight that, the more we're gonna hold ourselves back. So
that's crazy.
I've never been in a Lamborghini that I was like, ugh. You know what I mean? So.
Have you ever thought about wanting to reach out to other like car dealership types?
I have worked with other car dealerships. I've worked with Porsche and Ferrari before. And I enjoyed it, but it's more of like a non-competitive thing. I try not to. I really love my team, my Lamborghini, and I
Of
respect them.
course.
So I don't want to work for the competition, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and they take good care of you anyway, so it's like there's no point of wanting to
Yeah.
switch around and everything.
Yeah. So, I mean, I do work for individual um companies, if that makes sense. Like, I have a couple companies that are like, they do they do like exhaust work or stuff like that, or individual builds and stuff like that. I do a lot of work with the RWB community, stuff like that.
That's cool. I could honestly see you doing stuff like Lamborghini ambassador type thing where you're just creating content going out.
It's so funny because people will comment to me, they're like, "You're the Lambo girl, right?" And I'm like, "I own a Lambo, but yeah."
You're known as the Lamborghini
Lambo
girl.
girl.
That's awesome.
But yeah, it's definitely an honor for sure. I love them.
So I want to talk a little bit because you said you've done a little bit of everything in the film industry. Now with the acting, because I've only seen you act once in a film that we got to work together.
Yeah.
So
That was fun.
and since you've had experience with acting, is that something that you could see yourself doing in the future or wanting to do that again? Or
You know what's crazy is like I enjoy doing short film stuff like that, but I couldn't see myself doing it full time or like professionally, if that makes sense. It's so much fun, but I don't think I'm that great at it.
no?
No.
Why do you say that?
I don't know. I guess in the moment I feel great and I'm like, oh, this is fun, like I can do this. But I just don't have like
Is it like that drive? Like you're
yeah, I
not
don't have the drive for
passionate for that?
it. I feel like when I do it, I'm like, oh, that was fun, but I just don't see myself doing it full time. I love, 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 love modeling. Absolutely love modeling. But acting is just like a whole nother world in my opinion. I know they go hand in hand, but I feel like the acting I do is when I'm modeling. I
Yeah,
can act like serious.
but more dialogue.
Yeah.
More
The
talking.
talking is not my strong point. I'm a yapper. I'm not a scripted girl.
Oh my
So.
gosh. Well, that's cool. Then that's perfect because I actually do want to go into the whole modeling then because again that's kind of how I met you. I can't honestly remember the first time we met,
I don't remember.
but I feel like I remembered meeting you as a model. You were
Yeah.
starting off as that, and like just even seeing you go do like when we used to do shoots at Tabor's studio all the time. So like, how did the modeling start off?
And again, this goes back. My mom got me into modeling when I was younger.
Of course, the photographer.
I say I actually like. I think I got back into modeling before I got back into the like videography and photography industry, which is crazy. Um, but I did a little bit of modeling when I was younger, nothing too serious. And then when I moved down here, I had photographers reach out to me and was like, "Hey, do you want to do a shoot?" And I was like, "I haven't done modeling in forever," because I used to do like modeling with professional photographers back in the day when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would do shoots obviously when I was doing photography myself. My sister and my best friends, like we would do fun creative shoots growing up, but it was just no pressure. It was just fun. But yeah, and then when I came down here and people were reaching out to me asking, I was like, "Oh yeah, sure." And it was crazy the response I got from it. And it was just it sparked the fire. you know it was a fire that was just like not as big. So
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, I miss doing this and I want to do this more professionally, and that's what I kind of, like I said, snowballed into that. So
Did you ever feel like it it started because obviously, like the whole like you have obviously the face as a model, and it's a lot easier for some people who have the look to be like a very unique model
yeah,
compared to like someone who's not really much of a model but wants to get into it.
right.
So like, do you ever feel like that's kind of like, I don't know if like a stereotype would be the right word, but like that's the reason why people have been pushing you, like
Maybe. I would say so. And I think, yeah, he said I have like a more unique style, more unique look. Definitely, I would say that's probably why. It's probably, stereotype cliche, but at the same time, I see a lot of beauty in a lot of different people. If you watch, professional like runway models or professional just models in any industry really, there's people like you'll see them walking down the street, you don't necessarily think they are a model, and trust me, when I'm not done up, like you look different, so I think there's potential in any person that has the passion to learn your angles, learn different posing, learn the industry in general. I think anyone can truly do it.
you since we're leading into the whole runway model, and this is perfect because she's here as well listening to this. um because leading again into like the whole stereotype for even as a runway model, do you ever wonder like size starts to matter, or did it matter in the beginning compared to his now?
I think it matter to who. So that's the real question, because I doesn't matter to me, but I have like a very unique take on, or it's probably not that unique, but I think it's unique because no one talks about it. But Obviously, I love that we've evolved as human beings into being inclusive. That is so important in society. But I also am the type of person, I'm just like very, I just don't blame, a lot of people wanted to target the secret V. Like we wanted to target them for a long time for not being inclusive or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like for me, it's like it's your brand. I don't feel like I have an opinion on it. Like if you want to hire who you want to hire, but like I think it shouldn't matter. But at the same time, like it's just not my place for certain brands. Like to tell a certain brand they have to hire someone that's this size or that size. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah,
there's unhealthy on no matter what size you are. Like you can
of
be,
course.
you can be super fit and still be unhealthy if that makes sense because you're putting steroids or you're overeating, undereating. Like I feel like size shouldn't matter. It's more your skill set. I
Mm-hmm.
think that's what should matter is your skill set. And then with runway specifically, it should be the designer's vision. There's different designers that have visions for different outfits.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm not here to tell another artist what their vision is. Does that make sense? That's kind of my take on it, but I absolutely love that we're being more inclusive when it comes to size because I grew up when I did modeling when I was younger. Hmm, an experience I had, speaking of size, like the experience that like really traumatized me and I will think of all the time is I had a photographer come down from Maine and I did a photo shoot with him. I was very young. I was like 15 maybe. He told me I needed to eat more. The
Oh.
complete opposite of what we normally hear. You know what I mean? Normally it's like you need to lose weight, which is terrible. But he told me I needed to eat more. And I'm not kidding. This man, this is coming from a man that was like very unhealthy overweight, like not in a good way. And so it was like we are two polar opposites. I've always been a very like small person,
Mm-hmm.
just naturally. My mom's that way. I'm just built that way. And as a young person, like that definitely shaped me. I was already struggling with like, and he didn't know this, but I was already struggling with self imagery and the fact that a person that did not know me had just met me was telling me something about my looks. I'm like, you literally hired me to model for you, and you're telling me something,
Yeah.
as a young girl, that's never fun to hear. So yeah, I think that really it's based off skill, not size.
Yeah, of course. I mean, you have to have the confidence to be able to do it. Not
Yeah,
anybody can do it.
confidence and skill in general.
Yeah.
Like it's not something I truly believe you don't just wake up and you're just like a supermodel.
Yeah, of
Like,
course. Of course. I mean, I usually
I
do
know.
tend to wake up like this all the time, but
Really
you
don't.
know. No, but like I can understand the issue, especially when it comes to like from photographers constantly judging certain people how to act, how they should look and model cuz like to us, obviously we're trying to look for the perfect model,
Yeah.
and we're trying to change people to become that perfect model instead of just being themselves.
Yeah.
So like it's why I feel like it's not right. You shouldn't have to obviously change someone to look them look perfect for what you're wanting.
Yeah.
When you have tons of people in the world that you can just ask somebody
Yeah.
else
That's what I'm
rather
saying.
than
Like a vision's a
tear
vision.
them
So
down.
it's like I'm not gonna attack a brand, attack like a designer or a brand or anyone because they want a particular size or a particular look or anything like that. Again, I'm so thankful that we have opened the door and expanded into not being just because I would not be modeling if it was just
The typical
the typical
hour. I was an hour.
not even hourglass. They just want like
Like
no
the
nothing
very thin
and
girls.
like I'm too short to be technically. I'm too short. My tattoos,
The
which
petite. Yep.
that
The
is the biggest.
tattoos.
The tattoos are the biggest issue for me.
Oh yeah, because you can't
That's
cover them up.
no, and I've had brands ask me to cover them up, and unfortunately, I've done it, but I've kind of got to the point in my life where I'm like, if you want someone without tattoos, just go get someone without tattoos.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? I know of companies that are big name companies that have hired models that don't have tattoos and they put fake ones on them to make them look inclusive.
What?
Yes, it's
That's
so
that
bad.
is
It's
so
so
weird.
bad. I feel like that's a big thing too, is normalizing if somebody has tattoos or if somebody has a different look to them. Like
Mm-hmm.
if they have the skill set, then they should be open to jobs.
Okay. Okay, that's interesting. Um. Okay. Cool. So another topic that I would like to jump on, and this is something that's kind of, I want to say, relatable for everyone. Whether you are, say, like in the industry, you're in the creative field, but you're also interested in meeting someone who's in the same field as you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, some of us either prefer to have like a significant partner that's either doing the same career as you
Mm-hmm.
or someone that does kind of like in the area,
Okay.
So like how do you feel about stuff like that,
I have dated in the industry. And I don't think it's a bad thing or a good thing. I think it doesn't matter. I think you can date in your industry for sure. It's really fun because you get, like you said, the creative collaboration, I guess you would say. But you have to be careful in the industry, especially as an artist,
Mm-hmm.
in my opinion, because the the creative energy the creative energy that comes from certain parts of our brain is a direct correlation this same spot as our intimate energy. So it's like our sexual drive is the same thing as like the same area as our creative drive. So it's easy to cross those and not, you'll meet it's not just me, but like I've met other people that are in the field, not just this one, but like in an artistic field in general, and they'll meet someone and they're, oh my gosh, like I'm so attracted to this person. And I'm like, no, you're inspired by this person.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to be careful, and not get that, take things slow when it comes to
Yeah,
the industry. Don't just like jump on board with the first person you get creative with, or not even just the first, but
because you
just
start to
match it.
love their passion of what they
Yeah.
do rather than
And
the
it's kind
actual
of common.
internal person.
Yeah. I've definitely been in situations where I should have just kept it like only creative. Use that creative feeling and that like passion to create art, not force or like rush into a
Yeah.
situation where you're attracted to each other, because it kind of messes it up almost. You know what I mean? Sometimes, not always.
Yeah, yeah, I could definitely say I relate to stuff like that,
Yeah.
and then, it can be it can be problematic,
Yeah.
because, you know, certain relationships can get ruined, and,
Yeah.
you ruin a good connection with someone, especially when you're like creating so well with them,
Oh yeah.
and then you put in this like this whole sticky
Dynamic.
situation. Yeah,
Yeah, the
and
dynamic changes. And that's why, like I said, it's not even just me. I learned very quickly, very, very quickly. I had a situation where I learned a lot. And I try to like implement that into my fellow like artist friends too. Like I said, it's not just like our industry, but just art in general. Like my creative friends, I'll have creative friends that'll be like, oh, they're just so cute. And I'm like, they're really like not your type and you barely know them. I'm like, you're just inspired.
mhm.
Inspiration and like compatibility are not the same thing.
Oh yeah.
And it's really hard to feel that when you are such a passionate creative person.
Especially in like even like appearance, like people just see what you look like,
Hmm.
how you look
Present
in that
yourself.
moment, yeah,
Yeah.
rather than like again like actually.
People light up when they talk about what they're passionate about. People light up when they are being creative and creating
Hmm.
art. So, um, yeah. So I get it. I get why people do that, and I've been a person that has done that. I've definitely rushed into relationships or situations where I'm like, dang, I wish I would have just kept that creative. It probably would have saved you know, that relationship when it comes
Hmm.
to creativity and creating art. So,
You think you could ever see yourself dating someone in the same creative field again?
yeah, 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 for sure. Because the incidents that I had, like I said, I learned from that.
Hmm.
So I don't think it has anything to do with the industry. I think it has to do with the people, the person. Like, no matter what industry you're in, if you date in the industry, it has nothing to do with the industry, in my
Of
opinion.
course.
I
And I
I
mean,
personally don't think so.
and I'm sure obviously the boundaries as well,
Yeah,
you
I think
gotta.
taking things slow are huge,
Yeah.
huge. Just like getting to know someone, their values in life, who they are. I think that's really the biggest part.
Of course.
Because like I said, the problem was never the industry. It was the person.
Yeah,
You know?
because they have to obviously benefit something in your life,
Yeah,
regardless,
exactly.
whether even outside of the industry. Like,
Yeah.
how do they make you feel just by being you? You
Yeah,
know,
exactly.
like,
And it can be supportive. You can support each other. You can build something really beautiful if it's the right person. So
mm-hmm.
I really don't. I could see myself for sure. Like I said, I never blame the industry. The only thing you have to be careful with, in my opinion, is being prepared for if you do date in the industry, the aftermath.
Yes.
Like you
Yes.
have to prepare yourself for how it's going to affect you in the industry, especially if you're so close in proximity. So I'd say that's the
Yeah.
biggest thing for me, and that's kind of affected me in my career, is just having to deal with what I call a smear campaign, to put it lightly and like politically correct. Is just I'm the type of person, like I just keep moving, like
mm-hmm.
like we had what we had, it is what it is. But like in the industry, I try to just I focus. Like I'm too busy to talk about you or
Of
deal about
course.
this and stuff like that. But
Can't let your
not
emotional
everyone's like
tides,
that.
like, it's,
Yeah, not everyone's like that. So you have to remind yourself, like, is this going to be worth it?
yeah.
And you have to deal with, in any relationship outside of your industry, in your industry, no matter what, as you like go through life, you will learn that there's always two sides, but they're going to tell their side for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, you got to remember that. That's
I
something to
I
deal with in the industry that you're working in.
I think it's really neat to see how when certain relationships do work out, like, say, like, you meet like a photographer,
Mhm.
right? And so, like, you have that unique dynamic of you doing video
Mhm.
and your partner does photos, and that's something that you guys can build a business together.
Yeah,
I
completely.
love stuff like that. Like, stuff like that inspires me.
Yeah.
And I hope one day that I do eventually find someone like that. I'm not obviously hoping that's the outcome of it,
Right.
but I give them props
Yeah.
because they go through a lot together,
For sure.
just being outside of like the whole creative side, just them learning to be together and then having to balance,
Working.
yes, work and pleasure.
100%. And you have to remember too, like if you are gonna date someone in the industry, like you can be each other's biggest supporters. And like you
Mm-hmm.
said, that dynamic, you can build something so beautiful, but it has to be the right person.
Yeah.
You can't build a dream team and force it.
Yeah.
It has to be, you have to take it things slow. You have to be good on your own. And then if you find somebody in the industry, then that's something so beautiful you can build. I know a couple of people that are like that. Their partners, like they have a business together and they do really well, and you just have to figure out the dynamic.
Yeah. And especially jealousy.
Oh
Like, you
yeah,
can't be jealous of your partner.
it's so bad.
You
Yeah.
can't be thinking,
But
oh,
that comes
they're,
from an unhealed part of us. So like, we all struggle, and I don't care who you are, everyone struggles with jealousy. It's human. It is
mm-hmm.
human, but you have to learn how to be mature about it and go about it certain ways. And deal with it in a mature way and set boundaries.
Of course. Of course.
Like the jealousy part of it is like, don't get jealous of working with other people, but also don't get jealous of if that person's doing better than you.
Yeah.
You know
They
what I
if
mean?
they
Like,
end up
don't
making
be
more
mad that
money.
that person's making more money than you. Be excited, be genuinely happy and
Yeah.
supportive of that person, and don't get like the jealous part of you. Or if they get a bigger job than you, like if they get a really cool gig, don't be jealous, be supportive, and be actually genuinely happy for them. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So,
Because, I mean, eventually, too, if you guys end up working out together, you guys can help each other get better
exactly.
rather than trying to be like, oh, I could,
That's
I could do better than her.
exactly.
But, I
Or
still love her.
yeah, and don't tear them down. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like be supportive and actually build them up genuinely, not just
Mm-hmm.
because you're supposed to. Like
Yeah.
actually want that. And if you don't actually want that, then maybe you should like not be in a relationship. 'Cause
Yeah.
no matter what industry you're in, you should be supportive of your partner.
Exactly. So you got to be able to have you got to obviously enter in a good mindset,
Yeah.
a healthy mindset, and just know that, everyone's got their own path
Yeah.
regarding whether you're in a relationship or not.
Yeah.
So as long as you're just helping each other out, supporting each other, that's all that matters at the end. Okay, cool. So, camera preference.
Sony.
Sony?
All day.
Is Sony the only camera you've ever had? Like the only
No,
brand?
actually, I started when I did the film photography with my mom. I started on a Canon.
Oh.
I started with Canon. We had a couple of Canons, and then even through high school, I was a Canon girl. But
I think
I was
most high schools only have Canon cameras too.
probably, I don't really know. I never think, I kind of wish I knew more about other high schools like in their programs, but we always had Canon. And then college, college, I was paying my own stuff. Like they had their Canons and stuff like that, but I was like, I need my own personal, because I was going through like where I was trying to change over. I fell into some Nikons. Not my favorite. I learned the hard way. I was like, I'm just gonna see, because I was paying for it all myself, so it was like so expensive. And on a college budget, not fun. I was working 2 jobs to try to support that.
Wow.
So, yeah, and full time, like 17 hours in college. But yeah, I did a little bit of Nikon, but then yeah, when I got back into the industry, full Sony.
Were you trying to do video with the Nikon?
Not really.
Just photos?
Yeah, because it was mainly it was like my personal stuff. So it was photography was like more for fun. The videography side was more Canon, and it was like a lot of broadcasting. I'd say more than anything at that time. But yeah, I was mainly photos for Nikon.
Do you remember what the Nikon camera was?
Which one I had?
Yeah, do you remember what that was?
I had a D32.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
It was, I was proud of that thing at the time. I was
Oh,
like,
I bet.
I said yes.
My first one was actually a D3400.
Oh, cool.
And I was rocking the kit lenses and everything, the zoom. I loved it.
But that's why I genuinely think, obviously, different brands have different pros and cons. Except for Sony, we're the best. I'm just kidding. But I genuinely think it's the person.
Yeah.
Knowing your settings. It doesn't matter. You can have the nicest equipment. You have to know your settings. Have to have the skills. You gotta be willing to be told that doesn't look good. You need to know editing. You need to be able to have an open mind to learning and evolving.
Take criticism.
Constantly learn. Like, oh my gosh, never be closed off to learning. If someone wants to teach me something, I'm like so open. If I want to learn something, I scour the entire internet and figure out what I can know. Take classes, like learn from
YouTube University.
YouTube. We love you, YouTube.
It's the best.
But I don't think that obviously I'm not dumb enough to say that there's better quality. Obviously, if I could shoot on a red, I would love to do that. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
One day I'll be there. That is my goal. But also, I don't think you need it to produce quality work. It's all about the eye and your skills.
Of course.
You gotta learn the eye. I think the eye is everything. Because I've seen some, like, even if you don't know your settings 100%, I'm like, I can see what they were doing here. Like, obviously you can adjust things here and there, and I've done it. I've been the victim of it for sure. But where you have to learn certain things. But if you have an eye, I think
like capturing certain frames, the composure.
You can even know your settings, but not have the eye. Like I've definitely seen creators where they know their settings, they know their editing, but it's like, why would you do that angle? Why wouldn't you, like I could see handprints on a car. You know what I mean? Like you have that.
It's like the minor things you see.
Like attention to detail, and then the eye of just, knowing what draws people into a photo or a video.
I totally get that. That's crazy. Okay, cool. So getting into the bit more of the serious conversations, because I asked this a lot about different business owners. I've had other videographers and photographers in this conversation, but I'm curious to know, because for me, I work with a lot of different people, a lot of different women, and today is National Women's Day. It's not gonna probably be out this certain time, but
we're filming on
National Women's Day. Shout out to my ladies here. Sharita Davis over here helping me out.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, have you ever had any struggles getting into the videography business? I would say, like, as a woman, were there any restrictions, stuff like that for you?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I've run into a couple hiccups here and there. I would say There's three things. The main thing is respect. Different aspects of respect, though, and it kind of varies. Mainly, I would say the main two things is, especially unfortunately, I get a lot of disrespect from men that don't realize they're disrespecting me. If that makes sense. They think, oh, like, oh, pretty girl, I can talk to her, and they kind of fixate on my looks almost. I'm like, oh, it's kind of makes me uncomfortable when I'm working.
Yeah. Oh, you're meant to be more in front of the camera.
Yeah.
Why are you behind?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, but obviously I handle it very well, and I don't think that there's always a negative, intention behind it necessarily, but it definitely makes me a little uncomfortable when I'm working. But I've kind of tried to unfortunately, I've gotten used to it at the same time, if that makes sense. I just learned how to handle it pretty well. And I'm like, I'm here to talk. I can talk to you and have a conversation with you, network with you. I love that. I absolutely love when people come up to me and like talk to me, but there's just like a line, I feel like, and they've struggled to find that sometimes. So I'd say I struggled with that a little bit. And then respect from women too, other women. I think that they assume that this kind of goes into one of the points of like the struggles I have is like assumptions of my character. Like they assume that because I'm not dumb. I know I have like a really intense face sometimes. Like even though I'm super goofy, like I have like the RBF face. You know what I mean? I'm not dumb. I understand that. So I don't know. I just have experienced that from women in general where they're like, kind of standoffish, like who is she, like who does she think she is? And I'm like, I'm just the camera nerd. Like I'm just here to have a good time and do my job and enjoy, but I do experience that sometimes, especially even with the modeling too, but videography as well. And then I would say support, like getting support in general. A lot of people don't, they don't want to support you because you're a female. And I know I'm not the type of person to play victim. I'm not that person. I'm like, it is what it is. I've accepted it, but it is something I not like acknowledge. And so, they're like, oh, you're just a girl. And so, you know, a big thing I hear, because I am very involved in, my community. And a big thing I hear is I'll hear through the grapevine people saying, "Oh, I could take her job. I could do her job better. I could take her job. Then come get it. Come get it."
Yeah.
I'm very proud of like who I am as a person and how I've run my business and how I conduct myself and then my work as well. So I'm like, if you really, and it's always like through, like I said, through the grapevine. I could do this, I could do that. I'm like, okay, like how is that benefiting you by saying that? Like, if you really could, then why haven't you? Like, I just don't get that. I don't understand that. So a lot of people think that they can like disrespect me and say that, but it's kind of like motivating. I'm just like, okay.
Of course, you're proving them all wrong.
My
Like,
love me. I love my clients. I giggle every time. I genuinely do because I'm like, that just to me that shows who you are as a person, that you really see me as competition, and competition starts at the bottom, and so I'm not worried about it. But when I hear that, it's very motivating. But they don't support me at all.
And when they feel threatened by you, that's kind of like, oh, I must be that good. Okay, shoot.
And that's the thing is I'm not even that great. Like I am, but I'm not. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm always learning something new, and I always believe that I can be better, a better version of myself. But I'm not competing with you. I'm competing with who I am 5 minutes ago. Like I'm not competing with you as a person, or even in this industry. It's not a competition.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, I would even think like when you were doing like the videography or like for like the football team too, like you probably had a lot of like catcalling guys going like, oh hey pretty girl, you want to come over here and film me?
Yeah,
flexing or something.
Yeah, for sure, definitely that. In the car industry, it's very male dominated.
Oh yeah.
In the videography world is very male dominated. Not a lot of us ladies out here carrying around big old camera equipment.
Oh no.
We're getting more and more, which I love. I love my female videographers, but we definitely
I'll admit I love seeing stuff like that too. I love seeing a woman with a camera that knows her stuff. I'm like, oh my God.
As soon as I see him, I'm like, hey, what? Let's be friends. I'm like, I love it. But I would say like a lot of people going back to the assumptions of my character kind of falls back into that the question of the industry, dating in the industry, is because people assume who I am based off of talk from somebody else that has a personal experience with me that is not it's very biased.
Yeah.
And you know, a lot of people don't realize that the way I act sometimes is adjacent to who you are. You know what I mean? I am so proud of, like I said, the reputation and then who I am as a person. I You can ask any of my clients, anyone I've ever worked with. Like, I'm not a bad person, and I know that. I'm very confident in that.
Yeah.
But like, people assume things about me just because of hearsay from one person in the industry, one person that had like one incident. So it's like they assume that what that person said was true and didn't take into consideration, like, hey, maybe that's not who she is. Maybe that's just the experience that they had.
Yeah.
And maybe it's not all true.
Because you got to really get to know you to understand who you are as a person. Like, they just look at you like, oh, she's a pretty girl that's holding a camera. She might not know what she's probably setting on an auto or something. Like,
yeah, exactly.
But no, she's out here with the whole gimbal, working her arm out. Like,
yeah, and it's like, it's not even just like based off my work. It's based off who I am as a person. Like I'm like I said, I'm very proud of who I am as a person, and I don't think I'm perfect. None of us are. I'm always evolving, always growing, and I've changed so much in just like the past 2 years. And I think I get a lot of the disrespect and support is based off of just assuming who I am and not actually coming up to me, approaching me, talking to me. Because you talk to me, like I said, I'm just like, I am pretty nerdy. Like, I'm like a camera nerd. Like, I don't really, like, I don't know, I don't get like that assumption thing, I would say. Because as soon as, again, I have the RBF face, but then you come up to me and I'm all smiles. Like, I'm all goofy and smiling. And
that's awesome.
super supportive. I'm the type of person, I support you if you support me too.
Of course.
I'm super big into that.
Of course.
Yeah.
Cool. So now, in a hypothetical scenario, in an alternate life, if you weren't Harleigh the videographer, could you ever see yourself doing something completely different?
Yeah, possibly. When I was younger, I wanted to, this is so random, but I wanted to be an interior designer.
Oh, I can see that.
Yeah, I definitely would have loved to do that. Or I went to school for physical therapy and massage therapy. And I also ended up getting my esthetician license as well. So before this, yeah, I was doing that for years.
I got a pretty bad back here that I might need a,
like, need
someone to
me. That's always what I hear.
Chiropractor, you know.
If you ever need a practice massage therapy you've done for years, I get that all the time. But yeah, that's what I was doing. So that's probably what I would be still doing.
Nice.
Or interior design, which is again so random, but I love interior design.
That's cool. Yeah. Awesome. I love it. I love it. Well, I mean, luckily we still have you as running one of the top women videography like industry out here. So like you probably inspire a lot of people out here, which is crazy. Like anybody that's probably even watching this or listening, they're like, oh my God, is that Harleigh? I love her. She's so amazing.
You're just buttering me up at this point.
I mean, that's usually my job. That's my job.
I appreciate it though. I really do, because I sleepless nights, sweating, working so hard, lots of like, I don't stop working.
Oh, I know. I've seen you. You're usually up like at 2 a.m, still editing.
5. I will go to bed at 5, wake up at 10 or 9. Really, I wake up at 9 and then I'm like ready to go.
Dedication right there.
Edit all night. You know,
that's crazy.
It's the artist hours, you know.
Awesome. Well, we're gonna start wrapping it up pretty soon, but I would love to know, because obviously this is the passion project. I want to know, do you have any current passion projects or anything upcoming that you want to talk about?
Yeah, I actually have a couple. I'd say my biggest thing is I'm doing a rebrand for myself. Rebel Visions is going to be pushed out pretty soon. Ooh. Rebrand launch. Very excited about that. Been working really hard on it. And that's probably my biggest thing I've been pushing, really expanding myself, my business. I'm so big at supporting other people's business and building their brands, and I just realized I need to really put my passion into my passion, and build myself. So that's a huge thing. I will be possibly talking at a couple conventions coming up soon, which is going to be fun. I'm preparing for that this year. And then I'm going to be doing some more work with the RWB community. I love them. They're amazing. So I'm excited to expand on that project. But yeah, that's kind of the main thing.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, for those of you guys who are listening and watching, we don't know when this episode is going to come out. So just make sure you guys follow Harleigh and see what she's been doing, because she might already be starting this. You never know. Yeah. So just make sure you guys follow her.
Yeah, follow me, Miss Rebel Visions Productions. That's me. Hit me up.
Yes, all of that fun stuff.
If you ever have, I'm a pretty open book. So even if you have questions about the industry or want to reach out, I'm all open.
Awesome. All right, we're going to end it with a quick card game that I do this with almost every one of my guests this season now. It is called Substance. So if you guys don't recall Substance, I actually got this card game off of TikTok, which is funny.
Oh, that's cool.
From a TikToker named, he goes by Lovely, who does a lot of these like mindset type of mental health type of content, and it's an icebreaker game.
Mental health is so big in this industry. So
yes.
We need to normalize working on that.
So what I have here, we have 3 different categories. We got mindfuck, we got vulnerability, and then there's intimacy. Now, you're welcome to get in depth with these questions. If you don't want to, you don't have to. Okay. But I will do one with you just to make you feel a little bit more comfortable. Okay. And then this just, kind of helps you open up, even though it's just towards the end of the day. Right. We'll see how this plays out. So I'm gonna have you
pick a card.
Pick a card, any card. Yep. I want you to read the backside of what the title is.
Oh, it's mindfuck.
Perfect. Now I want you to read the question out, and you're welcome to answer.
Given a chance, would you restart your life with your current knowledge? 100%. 100%. Obviously, I'm so thankful and so grateful for the life that I have. And, you always say like, oh, I would never change anything. But that to me is like so dumb. That is not very wise. If I had a chance to start over my life with the knowledge I have right now, 100%. Because I am the best version of myself I've ever been. And if I knew what I know now, there's like so much trauma and so many mistakes that I wouldn't have made. Mm-hmm. Obviously, that made me who I am. But if I could take the knowledge that I have and be an even better version of myself, 100%. I mean, that's what I do every day, is continue to become a better version of myself. Exactly. I would totally do that.
That's awesome. I love it. I love it. All right. I'm going to do one now. Yeah. Let's see what I get. I'm not even going to look at the cards. Oh, wow. I also got mindfuck. Awesome. All right. So my question is, what piece of advice have you received that stayed with you? Dang, that's a tough one. It's a tough one for real. I would say, and this is probably a very, not generic, but like something that obviously every person has gotten this type of advice, is just continue to be yourself. Yes. Don't listen to what the outside crowd says about you, because we're all different. We're all made different. And, not all of us are in it for the same reasons, Like for me, when I started doing this, all of this, I did it because I just loved it. Right. I never had the mindset of wanting to make money for it. Mm-hmm. And even like now, like, yeah, I'll obviously do it because it's an income to make, but it's what pushes me, what keeps me going. Like, I'm not making money doing this podcast. Yeah. At least not yet. Passion. It's my passion. Yeah, exactly. But it's what obviously it's what brings the money, and is when people see that you're passionate doing something. So, one day if this ends up taking off somewhere, then that's great. I love it. But at the end of the day, I see this as like another archive that I'm leaving as a legacy, People
and being
are
yourself is what got you here.
exactly, because I want people to know who I am as just a person.
Right.
Because I want to be able to inspire.
Yeah.
I want to inspire the next generation. I want to inspire my kids one day.
Yeah.
And I want
Be
people
proud of yourself for being yourself. Yeah.
exactly. And then not only that, just
sustainable.
just showing the people that I've met in my life, you know, because some people wouldn't, they'd be surprised. Like if you blew up one day, I'd be like, I have a podcast episode of me with Harleigh.
This is
yes. So it's just stuff like that, you know, like I love.
I support everyone. Like you just be genuinely like caring and genuinely yourself.
Yeah.
Like you said, you just don't conform.
Exactly.
To who, like, as you can tell, I'm not the type of person to conform. Like I am who I am very authentically, and I think everyone should be that way.
Mm-hmm.
Don't just do something because it's trendy. Like it's fun to do trends. It is fun, but trends die off. That's why it's a trend. If you're authentically yourself, like that is sustainable. You know?
Exactly.
So I like that stuck with you.
Thank you. I'm really glad I have you on this. This is fun. I feel like this is like a different type of conversation that we don't get to have.
Yeah, because I know we're just like job, work.
Yep.
Next project,
everything.
Next project.
So
like, can you help me? I need you to come help me with this project.
Yes, exactly.
So yeah, no, it is fun. So thank you for having me.
Of course.
Really
Thank you for coming on. Again, make sure you guys follow Harleigh here at all of her social medias, everything. All right, guys. Well, we're gonna cut it right there because my dog just said we're done for the night.
Yeah,
so
he called it a night. He said cut.
I want to thank you guys for checking out the new episode of the Passion Project. I want you guys to please follow Harleigh here and follow everything that she's been doing with her life. And hopefully she'll be back in the next season. And
I would love to.
yeah. So thank you guys for watching this, and I will catch you guys in the next episode. Peace out.